Thank you. Good evening, everyone. In this is my final address as the Mayor's Chaplain. I'd like to thank all of you, especially Mayor Sean Keating, for giving me the opportunity over this past year to experience and serve the people of Basingstoke and Dean in such a unique and fulfilling way. While serving as Mayor's Chaplain, I've learned much about my new home, this town, met many wonderful people who do incredible work to help make life better for those who live here and those who visit here. And I couldn't have fulfilled my role as Mayor's Chaplain if it hadn't been for the tremendous support and organisational skills of Zoe McLaren, who made sure that I was at all of the right events and that things ran smoothly and that I was in the right place at the right time. And a great thanks goes to Mayor Sean and his wife Gwen, who've helped me to settle into this role. As Mayor's Chaplain, I've witnessed how the mayoral year is not only enjoyable and fun, but also hectic and thoroughly exhausting at times. And I'm sure that you'll want to share with me the gratitude that we have for all of the hard work and the enthusiasm that they've shown for the events that they've attended over the past year. Please remember to pray for them as they take a well-earned break, and pray also for our new Madam Mayor as she takes up the reins and continues to serve the good people of Basingstoke and Dean. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hello, good evening and welcome. And a special welcome to the new councillors who are taking their seats either from a long break or short breaks. It doesn't matter which. You're all welcome. Do we have any apologies for absence? Simon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to put apologies in for Councillor Nick Robinson, Councillor Steele, Councillor Frost, Councillor Faulkner, Councillor Cubitt and Councillor Rowland, if I may.
I understand that they've already sent their apologies in from our side, so it should be recorded, as I understood. Okay. I do not, but...
So we could be in interesting territory with all these apologies. So can we just ensure that we get the order correct? No, not that one. This one. I'm invited to make some announcements, and I'm not going to make any. No announcements. The new mayor will be soon taking office, and she can make all the announcements she wants. Now, the intention tonight is to elect a new mayor. And the new mayor will, of course, be my current deputy, Diana Taylor. And so she's here. No apologies from Diane. We need to have a nomination for Diana for the new mayor. And we have some people in the audience somewhere. Hello, Terry. Good evening. Welcome. Would you like to make your nomination?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's with a huge pleasure and a very, very great honour that I nominate Councillor Diane Taylor to the role of Mayor for the forthcoming year. This has not been a difficult task at all, as Diane is held in genuine and deep respect across the whole of the Chamber, and I think we all know she will make a wonderful Mayor and a wonderful ambassador for Basingstoke. As you will see from her biography, which I think everyone has in front of them, Diane was born in Surrey and studied at Sussex University, and it was there that she met Andy. After they married and began a family, and before they came to Basingstoke, they were at one point living with 2 children in a 1-bedroom flat. So coming here to wonderful Basingstoke and moving into a 3-bedroom semi felt apparently like living in a mansion by comparison, what they were used to. You also see from Diane's biography that she was brought up in a highly theatrical family. Her father was an opera singer, and that meant that Diane spent a lot of her childhood attending performances and opera festivals during the summer and so on. So that means that Diane was used to the kind of theatrical shenanigans and colourful language that theatre folk often indulge in, which you might think perhaps is not necessarily the standard preparation for a life as a church leader's wife. Although you might think, actually, that perhaps it was a good preparation for politics, I don't know. But one early family anecdote illustrates this all very well. And I'm indebted to Andy for some details on this. Diane was at home one night with her 2 very small children at that time, and she was visited by an elderly, very upright gentleman from the church who wished to make a donation. So Diane invited him in, and they had a polite conversation while the children were playing and while the television was on quietly in the corner. Suddenly, a very loud and very rude expletive was heard from the television programme. So sharp intake of breath all round. "How shocking to hear such terrible language and so early in the evening when children are listening," said the visitor. "Oh yes, very shocking," said Diane, nodding piously. But at that moment, 6-year-old Barney piped up, "But Mummy, you said that word yesterday." So perhaps this is one of the reasons why Diane is the scrupulously honest person that we know and admire today. Diane had a passion from early adulthood to protect children from harmful influences, and was known sometimes to turn over certain magazines surreptitiously in shops in case they weren't visible to small eyes. She soon joined the BBC Advisory Board and began campaigning on national and local issues, and became, allegedly, quite a thorn in the flesh of her own local councillors. One day, though, Diane heard a speech about politics that really impressed her, and this changed everything. The speaker stated that people should go into politics not for gain, not for personal advancement, but to strive to do the very best to help the vulnerable and to cooperate with others to achieve the best possible outcomes. So Diane, inspired by this, decided to throw her hat into the ring and became a local councillor. And rumour has it that her ward councillors, which included the late Gwen Richardson, breathed a great sigh of relief at that. We all know Diane's many achievements at Basingstoke have been as a ward member, as a member of this council, and as a hugely respected chair of licensing. The first speech that really affected and inspired me here was actually given by Diane in this chamber. And we also know of Diane and Andy's many achievements as leading citizens already in this borough. The list of charities that they have set up, or supported, or helped to run, or to promote is quite astounding. And every day they demonstrate their total commitment to helping the vulnerable and needy in Basingstoke and Dean, and indeed beyond, with regular trips to India to support charity work out there, for example. Many of us are completely in awe of this wholehearted commitment and energy. And I know that Diane will bring this same commitment and energy to being mayor. I really cannot think of a better person to represent this borough, and all that is best here, for Diane and Andy epitomise this, the very best of Basingstoke and Dean, representing this wonderful borough. I hope you have the best of years. I hope you enjoy every minute, for you deserve it completely. And for those of us here wishing to keep up with Diane's year as mayor, we can always tune in to the Chris Moyles show, of which their daughter Pippa, who's a bit of a celebrity in her own right, I gather, is producer, and we can hear the latest updates. I heard a thrilling instalment recently about Diane's visit to a DIY store and her attendance at a fashion show. So we look forward to more stories of Diane and Amazing Stoke to come. So Diane, Madam Deputy Mayor and soon to be Madam Mayor, I'm thrilled and delighted to nominate you. We can't wait to see what your year will bring. Basingstoke and Dean is extremely lucky to have someone as generous and giving as you as our Mayor. We wish you all the luck in the world, and we hope you have a wonderful year.
Thank you, Councillor Reid. Can I invite Mrs. Frankham to second the nomination?
Being asked to second Diane caused a temporary rift in the Frankham household, as both of us wanted to second her. Why? Well, we as ex-mayors know and understand the attributes, commitment and respect that needs to be displayed, not only in this chamber, but amongst all the residents that we serve. It requires someone who will put the good of the borough and its residents before any personal or political gain. The role needs to give and receive the respect and love of our borough and its people, which can be quite an art in itself. The role needs to show compassion and love for all, and Diane has this. One example of this was when I became a committee member for the Access for All that I knew little about before. I spoke to the wonderful group of disabled people who give up their time to look at issues and accessibility of every type of disability and disadvantage, and said, why not email and make the councillors aware of what you do and let them know you are available for advice and help. One, and only one, councillor acknowledged them, and that was Diane, who said she was interested in all access issues for her residents. It's no secret that both Paul and I had 3 very difficult and tough years in the role as past mayors, and again we thank those that supported us, but in particular Diane, and she knows why. We met Diane and Andy several times at many of the over 1,000 events and meetings we had. It felt like 10,000. But it was evident how much they both do for and in our borough. This is not only from us, but you will have read in their profiles and heard some more from Councillor Terry Reid, who has just proposed Diane as only the 11th woman to have held this role since 1641. It's an enormous privilege to be the first citizen and represent the people of Basingstoke-and-Deane and be the representative of Her Majesty the Queen. Something that people need to understand and respect the Mayor's decisions. We are borough rich in so many things, but none more so than our wonderful residents that volunteer and serve our people. Both Paul and I wish you and Andy a very happy and eventful year.
Thank you, Councillor Frankham. Can we have the mace bearer, please?
Ladies and gentlemen, Councillor Diane Taylor, will you now please sign the Mayor's Declaration of Acceptance of Office? If you could read and sign, please.
I, Diane Taylor, having been elected to the office of Mayor of the Basingstoke and Dean Borough Council, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So my very first duty as the new mayor is to invite nominations for a deputy mayor. So can I invite Councillor Sven Godison, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was very pleased to be asked to nominate Onley Cubitt for the role of Deputy Mayor, and I'm very proud to do so. Onley Cubitt was first elected to the borough in 2008. For 14 years prior to that, she worked in the banking sector, specialising in international loan syndications. She held a number of positions with ANZ Investment Bank, Chemical Bank, and the Standard Chartered Bank. The two of us have represented our ward together now for 10 years, and the qualities that spring to my mind as a result of our working relationship is integrity, honesty, an enormous capacity for hard work, and a dogged determination to see every problem to a satisfactory conclusion. She also has a strong sense of natural justice, and I feel completely confident that the borough will be very safe in her hands during her period of office. I commend her to the council.
Thank you very much. And in the absence of Councillor Potter, Councillor Janet Westbrook. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Speaking in the absence of Councillor Potter, who's delighted to second the nomination for Councillor Cubitt.
As you may have noticed, unfortunately, Councillor Cubitt can't be with us this evening, and so she will affirm and sign the declaration at next week's council meeting. So we all look forward to that. Right, I'm now going to stand, because it's my pleasure to move on to thanking the retiring mayor. I've been watching, sorry, this chair is so heavy. I've been watching the retiring mayor and mayoress closely over the past year to learn how it's done. And I have to say, they have been superb. Sean and I have become friends over the past year. I recall saying in this chamber following the sad passing of Councillor Nigel Pearce that he was a very old friend of mine and Andy's, that politics should never come in the way of friendship. And I'm not sure we always achieve that aim here, but if we can move that forward just a little bit over the next year, I will feel I've achieved something, because I do so strongly believe in it. And okay, over the last year, Sean and I are chalk and cheese, aren't we, Sean? He's very Irish, he's very Labour, he's very Catholic, and he doesn't like curry. But I forgive him all these things because he's a great guy, and we've had many laughs over the year, and I have a great respect for him and for Gwen. I'm not just saying that so that he doesn't make too much trouble for me with his spurious points of order when he's back on the benches and I'm trying to chair a meeting. I'm sure he'll behave himself. Now I've said such nice things about you. But sincere and genuine thanks to you both for being such excellent role models. So can I ask you all to applaud this couple, to say thank you, Councillor and Mrs. Keating, for the excellent way in which you've represented and served our great borough over the past year. And it's now going to be my pleasure, if I can get past this chair, to present the retired mayor with his past mayor's badge, together with a book of memories from his mayoral year, and also the past mayoress with her badge and with a floral tribute of thanks for her. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry, it's all about the photographs, isn't it? It's now my great pleasure to hand over to the retiring Mayor, Sean Keating, to say a few words and to hand out his awards.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thanks for your kind words. And I will try to be kind to you. I will try. I've had a great year. It's been an honour and a privilege to represent this council all over the borough and all over Hampshire, and even down as far as Portsmouth, and the one beyond that, Fareham. And then I had to go to Aldershot. And when I went to Aldershot, I once forgot to put my badge on a chain, on a ribbon. And I got a stern rebuke from the existing mayor of the Aldershot. And I thought he was going over the top. I just simply made a simple mistake. But I didn't worry about it too much. I am delighted to have the opportunity to say thank you and to note some of the good bits of my year. We were welcomed by all in the borough, wherever we went. And even though we had the bling on, they knew who we were before we got there. We entertained scouts and guides repeatedly and with great glee, because they are the leaders of tomorrow. And I was telling them that every time I saw them. They're picking up the values and standards of their leaders, the Scout movement leaders, and they're getting those standards as well as via their parents. So we met lots of people, lots and lots and lots of people. We had great music, we had great concerts, we had lovely choirs, and then we had the Mayor's Carol service in my church. That was a first, and it was a treat. And we collected, in one carol service only, we collected £1,000 from the congregation, and they were half choirs. So I want to say a special thanks to Father Whelan, my priest, who was very, very helpful and supportive, no matter what we asked of him. And of course, we also had the help and support of Zoe, the mayoral coordinator. She worked a treat. She worked day and night, whenever she wanted to or whenever she needed to. So she was brilliant. She today gave me an email saying, and by the way, these are the figures you want for your collection, you know, all the collections. And it comes down to a total of £15,000. Good, bad, or indifferent, that's the issue. That's what it was. A £15,000 collection for the charities. Now, of that £15,000, 10% is going to two charities that I'm directly connected with. I'm on the Basingstoke Charities as a councillor, and we look after the almshouses across the road and other things. And I'm a Catholic, as somebody will have noticed, and I don't mind being told I'm a Catholic because I enjoy being a Catholic. So of that, 10%, 5% each will go to CAFOD and the Basingstoke Charities, leaving 90% split between three charities, i.e. 30% each, just in case you can't do the maths. So £4,500 will go to Basingstoke Mencap, £4,500 will go to Naomi House in Jack's Place, and £4,500 will go to Basingstoke Neighbour Care. They're all good charities that I've supported on and off throughout my years as a councillor. We'll finalise these figures, we'll add them all up, and we'll get the correct number when the ins and outs are topped up. And you'll get an email from me in the next couple of weeks. I have a number of awards that I want to give out. Two are for outstanding individuals. Individuals who make an impact on the lives of so many in the borough. And I want to highlight their contribution in different ways. The first one is for Phelim. You over there, Phelim? Phelim is the manager of the furniture project. Now, the furniture project in Basingstoke was started by the Labour administration, if you remember that far back. But we started the furniture project in 2002. And the first thing we looked at was, is there a similar project anywhere else that we can learn from? So we went with the leading councillors and council officers, trooped over to Newbury. There was a furniture project operating there. So we wanted to get it right and make sure that it lasted. It opens its doors with finance from the National Lottery and from the Borough Council. It opened its doors in October 2004 in Jewel Road, where they still are, which is the top of Chapel Hill, and they're still there. Now, Phelim actually wrote a better bit than I did. So I'll read you his bit. He works there. He took great care to make a succinct speech. In May 2002, a group of Basingstoke councillors and council officers went to the community furniture project in Newbury, where they watched a presentation showing how the project helped to reduce waste by encouraging furniture reuse, how it supported volunteering for people with learning difficulties and mental health problems, and how it targeted the poverty by supplying furniture and appliances at very low cost to people receiving benefits of state pension, and more importantly, free of charge to people in exceptional need. I'll come back to that later. The council then asked the charity to participate in setting up a furniture project in Basingstoke. the National Lottery produced some money. The project opened its doors in October 2004 with one industrial unit and has steadily grown ever since. It is now an electrical testing workshop where appliances can be tested and repaired, woodwork and upholstery workshops where furniture is repaired and upcycled or given a new life in any form, a bicycle repair workshop, training rooms for supported volunteers, learn life and employability skills, and to date, the project has 91 volunteers enrolled in our accredited training programs. In one recent year, there was 33,000 visitors, up to 6,000 donations of furniture, diverting over 340 tons of waste from landfill and giving over £12,000 worth of furniture free of charge to those in exceptional need. And it was whilst dealing with a woman who was fleeing violence that I got to know Phelan much better. When I was looking for a whole house load full of furniture free. Now, you can't walk into any place without having a bit of trepidation of saying, I want a whole house full. I don't want just a bit of furniture. I want a whole house full. And he was so caring and so dramatically affected. And he said, bring her in. She'll have everything she wants. Everything she wants. Fill the whole house. And that was a wonderful gesture. I know it wasn't usual, but it certainly was an extraordinary request. And of course, I don't mind asking extraordinary things of people, especially people who work in the community. So, Phelan, I do want to pay tribute to you for your efforts, and I have an award for you. Would you like to come up? Please. Thank you. Want to say a few words? Okay, off you go. Oh, and we'll stand up again. I have another award. Now, this award is for a totally different type of person. Olya is a lady of Russian extraction. She is a Russian. And she exudes the whole epitome of a lovely Russian lady. She sings, she dances, she makes people like me sing and dance. She makes people of other kind of characters, like ex-mayors perhaps, also sing and dance. And she has a troupe of about 20 young Russian dancers. They sing in Russian, and they sing in English. They're actually trilingual, the children. They're trilingual. And they're really, really enthusiastic. And now, though I can tell you one thing, Olya will work them to death. Because she is that kind of embodiment of somebody who wants to do things in a hurry. And she wants to do things, all the things she does in a hurry. She teaches Russian children sing, dance and to entertain. She visits care homes at least 40 times a year. And she helps the residents in the care homes to participate in all kinds of activities like dancing or singing or doing exercise. The children will do examples of exercise and they'll get the residents of the care homes to actually participate. Because that's what she does. She enthuses you, everyone. She also has within her small troop of active people that work with her, she has a group of 5 women, and she organizes them to sing in harmony and all that kind of stuff. And they are so enthusiastic because Olia actually derives them, and she does. She's a wonderful person. So, for all her enthusiasm and all that she does in the community, I have no hesitation in saying I'd like to give her an award as well. Where is she? For a change, I'm in charge. This is yours.
Oh, thank you.
One hand down here.
You can shake hands.
Okay. Well done. See. What's his name? Well done.
Thank you very much.
Want to say anything?
Do you want to sing?
Eh?
Do you want to sing?
No, no. You can sing an Irish song.
An Irish song.
No, no, no. You want to say anything?
Do I want to say anything? Thank you very much. I'm really honored to be here in this room full of people who do all this work for the community. And yes, I did make Sean dance, and I hope to make you dance again, and you if you like. And I do believe that music is a very powerful thing which helps people to live their sometimes very hard lives. And we do sing in care homes and nursing homes, and not 40 times a year, but 140 times a year. And that's why I'm losing my voice. And I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to my wonderful team of 30 musicians who tirelessly work in care homes and nursing homes and schools, and we get people, you know, out of wheelchairs and not make them dance, but encourage them to dance and sing in 16 different languages. Okay.
Well done.
I just said, thank you very much.
I gave an undertaking to the previous Mayor, Councillor Frankham, that I would retain the option of having a youth award. Now, I haven't got a person to give an award to, so I'm hoping that the current Mayor will emulate the previous Mayor and do a youth award next year. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sean. Brilliant. There's just me left now, and then we can have the refreshments. First of all, thank you so much to my proposer and my seconder for the fantastic things, totally undeserved, that you said about me. It's really, really kind of you. So my first job is to introduce you to my chaplain, Dr. Andy Taylor. I think it's a safe bet to say that I probably know my chaplain better than most mayors can claim. He's not only my chaplain, but he's my consort as well. He is Albert to my Victoria, as I like to say. And we've been married for the past 47 years. And we're delighted to have with us tonight our son, Barney, yes, the one who landed me in it, and Pippa, and other members of the family. Lovely granddaughters here. So I mentioned that Andy is both my consort and my chaplain, but he also, just to complete the 3 Cs, he'll be chauffeuring me around most of the places as well. So he's actually going to work harder than me this year. All the work that Andy does as community pastor and various projects around the town and the borough will recede a bit for the time so that we can wholeheartedly enter this mayoral year together. He's been a fantastic support to me already, and I know he will continue to be, and I'm immensely grateful to him for that. So we're entering this next year with an attitude that we are going to thoroughly enjoy ourselves, whatever we're asked to do, even the council meetings, maybe. I've been asked if there's a theme for this coming year, and it would be something like working together for the good of all. I'll explain that by introducing the first of the charities that I've chosen to support over the coming year. And it's a name that's synonymous with helping those in our borough who are homeless or struggling, and that's real change, not loose change. There are so many excellent works going on in this borough. Projects such as the Camrose Centre, May Place House, Julian House, the Nightlight Winter Shelter, and the Dwelling Place, and more. Basingstoke has a lot going on that seeks to alleviate the suffering of the homeless and the vulnerably housed. And Andy's had a big part in that too, and I just want to do something to help to raise the profile of what we're doing and give money to it. So 40% of the money raised through the Mayor's charitable appeal will be apportioned at the end of the year in the most effective way possible to help such people. We've made strides in tackling homelessness in this borough, and I think we've got where we have, largely because of a real step change in attitude. When I first became a councillor, I think it's fair to say there was something of mutual suspicion between the council on one side and churches and charities on the other. Churches and charities thought that once the council stepped in to help, there'd be a takeover bid, and they would be told how to do it and would lose the initiative. And churches and charities thought that once, and the council on the other hand, thought that they, ordinary well-meaning people, weren't really able to do things correctly, and they couldn't quite be trusted to do it right. So I have to say that after the years that have passed since I first became a councillor, things have really, really changed. We now have our social inclusion partnership, which is a large group of diverse people and charities and organisations and businesses. And they're working together with a single aim, and that is to find the most effective way to alleviate homelessness and suffering. The Nightlight Winter Shelter, which has run for the past 3 winters, is a fantastic example of this new cooperation and trust that's grown up between the two sides. The churches wanted to open their doors to the homeless over the winter months, and the council stood back and allowed them to do it their way. And it was tremendous. The council offered help, training, support, funds, but trusted this enormous group of well-meaning volunteers to just get on with it. And it worked. Out of this project, as a welcome and superb outcome, a significant proportion of those given shelter never returned to the street. And with the help of the Housing Department and other agencies, they were found homes and helped to cope with life. So this is really the meaning behind my theme, working together for the good of all. If we as a council continue to recognise that the energy, enthusiasm and hard work of an army of non-professional but competent people, it's an amazing resource to tap into. And we can find all sorts of ways then to revolutionise social care. Now, this isn't to waive responsibility, because local, obviously, and national government have a huge responsibility. But individuals will always slip through the net. People will always be finding themselves in times of crisis. And it's then that I think we should invoke a slight corruption of President Kennedy's rallying cry, ask not what Basingstoke can do for you, ask what you can do for Basingstoke. And that attitude, I think, if encouraged and facilitated, can achieve so much. So working together for the good of all is my theme. But I do want to just mention the other two charities that I'll be supporting. Equally important, really good charities. One of them is called HeartSmart. Terry mentioned that I had a period of time on the BBC Advisory Board with the main aim of really helping to stop children from being tainted by so much that's going on in the world that they're exposed to far too soon. And that was also the main aim behind many of my campaigning activities as well. And I feel a little bit embarrassed that, yes, I did actually turn over those magazines on the top shelf. I'm sorry Andy had to expose me in that way. But I was Mary Whitehouse, basically. And I have to be honest about myself too. I was a nightmare child. I really was. I came from a loving and a privileged home, but I had real mental issues and real emotional issues as well. And my difficult childhood slipped seamlessly into a very neurotic adolescence. And I just feel that if my academically excellent fee-paying school had tapped into something like HeartSmart, it might have been very, very different. So what's HeartSmart? It provides a fantastic resource for primary school teachers who now have to do compulsory relationship teaching. It's material which engages children so well and shows them how to achieve important things as they grow up. Love and respect for others, love for themselves, an appreciation of who they are. Several schools in the borough have already bought into it, and it's my hope to encourage all of them to get into HeartSmart. I honestly think that if children are fed good stuff like this, it will do a huge amount to counteract bullying, cyberbullying, and all the relationship problems that so many teenagers and adolescents have as they grow into adulthood. And not only is there pack for teachers, but there's resources for parents to go alongside it so that they're singing from the same song sheet and really supporting each other. So the charity is looking also to develop into other areas that help protect and nurture our children, and I do commend it to you. And finally, the sleeping charity is what I'm calling it, Besom in Basingstoke. I'll explain. Besom has been going now for 13 years. The fundamental aim of Besom is to help people to give to those in need. It acts as a bridge between the giver and the recipient. So if, for instance, you're redecorating your house and you've got a perfectly nice three-piece suite, and you think, there must be somebody in Basingstoke who could really do with this, that's where Besom can come in and help. And Besom will find the very person who needs it, will pick up your three-piece suite and will take it to that person. Perhaps it's a woman who's been housed out of the women's refuge, or somebody from May Place House who's been given a home. People like that frequently have absolutely nothing with which to start. And Besom will also give them a starter pack, which is a large storage box full of a toaster and kettle and crockery and cutlery and all the things that make a house a home. It is a fantastic charity. However, one of the basic principles of Besom is that they never ask for anything. They never ask for money, they don't ask for anything, they just simply receive whatever people want to give and pass it on to somebody who needs that thing. So that's why there won't be a flurry of fundraising activity from Besom. But nevertheless, I do want to give a portion of the money, 20% of what's raised over the next year, because they cannot operate without a van. You may have seen the Besom van around the place, often helping out with the nightlight shelter or the food bank. And their van is getting elderly. So for that reason, 20% of the money will go towards either maintaining the old van that they have or buying a new one, even better. Depends how much we raise. So those are the charities that I'll be supporting over the next year. And the year will probably fly by, but it's one that Andy and I will absolutely make the most of, and we are determined to enjoy it. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you to the electorate and my fellow councillors for getting me into this position. It is a tremendous honour. I was asked to make any announcements. The only announcement I have is you've been patiently sitting and listening for a long time. All that remains for me is to thank you for coming and to invite you to join me in the committee suite for some drinks and refreshments. There won't be a line-up, but I will mingle and get round to all of you. Thank you very much.